Hello, lovely people. Welcome to episode 2 of Gathering Nature. I'm very excited to be with you today because today we are discussing a plant that is the bane of most school kids' lives. It was mine, but I didn't realize how bloody important it is and how medicinal and magical it is too. So therefore, I think I'm going to take us over to sunny Scotland to meet my partner in plants, Natasha Lloyd, medical herbalist, and let's go and find out a little bit about today's plant.
Hi there, Natasha here from Scotland, and we are looking today at stinging nettle, Urtica. Wonderful, so many uses. Yeah, good light on that. There, that's better, isn't it?
The stinging nettle, it is. How cool is today's show going to be? Let's go and catch up with our friend Natasha Lloyd. Hey Natasha, it's lovely to see you again this week. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Jaden. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully well. Very excited to be chatting with you. We've just seen the video, so everyone now knows that you are in sunny Scotland collecting nettles. So that is the plant of the week. Super. I mean, I love nettle tea. Love nettle tea. Can't get it here in Mexico. I've been asking around actually because it is kind of like the perfect, it's a very English climate. So there must be nettles somewhere. Like, I don't believe they're not here. So I'm going to continue to investigate that. We'll talk about another show, but I love nettle tea. Love nettle tea. So that's the only thing I kind of knew about nettles, is that you could drink it. I used to drink it with mint as a tea, but tell us more, oh wise one.
So I wonder if you can't find nettle because it likes newly turned soil.
Well, I live in a really intensely agricultural area.
Right.
So I mean, like, we've even got broom, and there's so much here from England, like that I recognise. It's crazy, but I've not seen it. We've got elderberry. I mean, that's just everything. Dandelions, like some of the other stuff we're talking about, but I've not seen nettles yet. So I'm going to continue my search. So if anyone is in Chiapas, especially in the San Cristobal de las Casas region, and you know of any nettles, then let me know, because I'd love to go and find some. I'd love to even nick a couple of plants and grow them in my garden, to be fair.
Yeah, they've got so many good qualities.
So tell me, I'm dying to know.
Okay, so up to 40% protein.
Really?
Yeah, really interesting.
What?
In the whole plant.
Wow, okay, bloody hell.
So you can actually extract it like you do tofu.
Okay.
And there was a guy making that. He was extracting it, and then you can dehydrate it, and you can put it in soups and stews.
Wow, that's mad. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't, but I've no friends that have.
Wow, okay.
They contain so many minerals and pretty much every vitamin, and very high in iron.
I've been told it's really, ironclad, basically, that plant. So, which is actually another good reason, we'll find out later from our new friend Jackie Thackway, about kind of magical purposes, because iron is like real hardcore protection, isn't it? So
okay, right.
Iron, amazing. So what do you use it for? What have you used it for? I'm loving the ducks.
They're really happy.
They so know, right? They weren't doing that before it started.
No, they know.
It's attention time. The girls are on.
I've been on the video calls most of today with Clinic, and so yeah, I think they're a bit bored of
They're just like, come on, Mum, we want to play now.
Yeah. Come on, hurry up.
So tell me, what have you?
So nettle soup is one of my favourites.
Okay.
And is delicious. So an onion, potato, stock, and then say I would say about half a carrier bag full of nettles. So 300 grams of just the tops of them before they flower. If you take them after they flower, they contain microscopic calcium carbonate, which over a long period of time isn't good for you. Okay. So you take them before they flower. Sorry?
Not the leaves.
Yes, the leaves. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say a leaf is kind of arrow shaped, right? So when you say the top, just the top half of the leaf, or just the Or leaf is
Oh, good point. No, I mean the top part of the plant, so the first 4 to 6 leaves.
okay, that are just underneath where the flower is going to appear if it hasn't appeared already. So the very top part of the plant.
Yeah, but once it's flowered, you don't harvest it, but you can cut them down
Okay.
and they'll grow into young ones before they flower.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Cut and come again.
Okay, so half a carrier bag of those, and do you stew it like you would like a, I don't know, like a lettuce or a spinach or something?
Like spinach. It's very much like spinach. And then you can use it in all sorts of things. In a moussaka, in a lasagna.
Really? And you can eat the leaves. You don't have to take the leaves out of the soup or anything.
No, not at all. You want to blend them up. So you make the soup,
Yeah.
the base, onions, potatoes, stock, cook that down.
Yeah.
And then I hand blend it. You can put it in a blender. After you put the nettles in. Sorry, that was very confusing.
Yeah.
So do the stock, put the nettles in, then blend it. Delicious.
Wow. Okay. And bloody healthy as well. Do they not sting your mouth?
No, not once you put hot water on them. It gets rid of the sting.
Really? Because that always kind of scared me. I'm just thinking, because those buggers, they can do some damage, I understand.
Yeah, but it's really interesting. The stingers contain formic acid, the same as wood ants.
Okay.
Acetylchlorine, which gets things through cell membranes.
Okay.
And histamine. So some people, that's what the reaction is on your skin.
Okay.
You get the raised bit. And then serotonin.
So it's actually good for you to be stung by.
Well, it will give you a little happy boost.
Once you've finished crying and rubbing your arms and legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the bane of my life in school. I was always the kid that got thrown into the stinging nettles.
Oh.
Maybe that's why I'm so youthful and energetic now. Maybe they just gave me a little bit of a boost that I never realised.
Well, there is the old stories of people using them as a counter irritant for arthritis.
Really?
Yeah, so you get the fresh nettles,
Yeah.
and you whip yourself on the affected joint. And it works because it takes the deep pain away and creates a surface pain irritation.
Wow. Okay.
It may well go deeper than that in terms of
Like medical reasons, but wow,
yeah.
amazing. So how did your love of nettles start? Like when did it all kind of start for you?
When I was very young with my mum. Sorry about the dogs.
I can't hear or see anything.
Can you not? Oh, they're growling around in the background playing with the ball.
No. No, I love it. I love animals, so they can join in as much as they bloody want, don't you, Rob?
They really want to as well at the moment.
Yeah. As long as they don't take your laptop off your table, that's the only problem. But no,
Yeah, that would be an issue.
they're part of this show, bless them. So yeah, so with your mum it started.
Yeah, so when I was weeding when I was a kid, I didn't want to weed the nettles out. And then we went and looked at a modern herbal by Mrs. Greaves, and I was like, these are really valuable. These are really useful to humans. And so eventually my mum said, well, we can't have them here because we want to have it looking like this. And then she took me to a local nettle patch. So it was one of my first early plants.
I love nettles because I was addicted to butterflies and moths, and good staple food for a lot of the caterpillars.
Yeah.
So so I used to like stinging nettles. There was always a caterpillar to be found on or near a stinging nettle patch. So they were my hangouts. But trying to catch caterpillars and moths and butterflies, I kind of got stung more than I actually got any success from catching the moths and butterflies. So you can use it in a soup. Obviously, you can use it in a tea, and I guess you'll just boil the young leaves again, right?
Yeah.
It's in the soup. And what else can you use them for? What else are they great with?
You can add them to almost anything, like a spring green. So anything that you would use spinach for, you can use nettles. Once you put hot water on them to get rid of the sting, and then you've got like a clump of slightly wilted leaves, and then you can just add those to anything. You can make nettle gnocchi.
Once hot water touches them, the sting's gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I would boil it for a couple of minutes just to be on the safe side.
The branching, yeah.
Nettle gnocchi, nettle pasta. You can do so many things with nettles, it's ridiculous.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you have any nettle stuff in your book?
Yes.
Oh.
I think the main one that I can remember is the nettle seed gamasio, which is sea salt, sesame seeds, and nettle seeds.
Couldn't say that with a lisp, though, could you? That would be a bloody challenge. Okay, so sea salt, sesame, and nettle seeds. Right. Wow.
So it's a Japanese condiment.
Okay. And what,
And
you
it's,
sprinkle it on food or something? Or
yeah, I love it on eggs because they've got like a seaweed umami flavour, the nettle seeds.
okay.
But you need to take it in the morning because they've got so packed full of nutrients, they can actually keep you awake. They give you an energy.
Really? Sod the condiment. I was just going to be popping those bills. On the seeds in the morning. That's what I'll be on.
Really healthy, good for kidneys.
Okay. So yeah, what I mean, obviously, full of vitamins, minerals, and iron. What would you use, kind of, like nettle for medically? What's its?
So even though it's histamine in the sting, the whole plant is actually antihistamine.
Really?
So for allergies.
Wow. So just by eating them is going to reduce allergy. And is it an anti-inflammatory as well then?
Most plants are anti-inflammatory, so yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's the great joy of plants is they do so many different things. The root contains a chemical called 5-hydroxylase, which helps with blocking testosterone for an enlarged prostate. Very effective.
Okay. And would you know how to advise people to use that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that would be anyone. What about treating things like prostate cancer, obviously, which is very common in elder gentlemen? Is it something that can run alongside other forms of treatments and stuff like that, or is it,
Ideally, we try and get it while the prostate's enlarged and not got cancer in. And then you can bring the prostate down and help prevent that cancer in the first place.
because it's an anti-inflammatory
and it's blocking the testosterone, which can cause the issues.
right. Okay. And so you can you eat the flowers of the plant as well?
No, I wouldn't use the flowers or any of the plant while it's in flower. I would wait for the seed.
Okay, so not even the root.
The root you would take either in the early spring, with the first few leaves coming up, or as the plant's dying back and the energy goes into the root.
Okay. Okay. Really good to know that. So a bit unlike the dandelion, where pretty much, oh no, because you can't eat the stem of the dandelion, but you can pretty much eat anything.
Again, you would wait for either spring or autumn to take the root.
Yeah. Amazing. So just the leaves and the roots and the seeds of
Seeds.
used. So people at home, you've heard all this phenomenal information. Now, don't forget that Natasha is readily available. If you put questions about nettles, or you want to find out some ideas, or you want to get more medical advice from Natasha, then please put your comment in the comment section of any of the videos, and Natasha will get in touch with you at some point. Like she said, she's crazy busy. I'm lucky to get her once a week, to be fair, but please put some comments down there, and I'm sure Natasha will get back to you in some way, shape, or form. One of us will, anyway. So, and just because she might be able to help you with things that are going on in your life at the moment, naturally. As I think we discussed it last week about how people can say it's wonderful alternative, medicine, and being nature and plants actually was the original bloody medicine. Actually, I love how we play with things, us humans, that we're,
Oh, we're blessed, aren't we?
oh, there's not much money in someone going and curing themselves by eating stuff in the hedgerows and the woodlands. So, let's use that as the alternative source that might not work. And let's keep all the white pills and creams and injections that are manufactured costing hundreds of thousands of pounds. Let's keep that as the original source of cure.
Oh, if I've got bacterial meningitis, I'm on antibiotics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not against that.
No. I mean, I think they can both run hand in hand, right?
Exactly.
I've also known a woman. I went to a conference many years ago when I was still in England, and it was about a woman talking about how she cured herself from stage 4 breast cancer. And the reason why, and it was like apricot kernels, pineapple. I mean, there was loads of other stuff, but they were just two things that really stick out in my mind. Apricot kernels that we bastardize, saying, it's full of arsenic, don't touch them, don't have too many, they're highly poisonous, actually highly effective in treating cancers and stuff like that. Along with the pineapple, they power each other up. But she cured herself not because she was scared of the cancer, but she had a complete phobia of hospitals and didn't want to spend one night in the hospital. So she's like, I've got to sort this. I can't go. Sod the cancer bit. She's like, I cannot go into hospital for the night. It's my biggest phobia. But she cured herself just by using natural products. I'm not suggesting that everyone goes and does that, but I am suggesting people talk to herbalists and medical herbalists and people that have actually had incredible success with plants and herbs, and as if not a cure, then an addition to another treatment,
Bringing things back into balance. I mean, for sure, each case is individual and each individual medicine. So every case has to be taken on its own.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm not someone that wouldn't recommend not doing conventional cancer treatment.
Yeah.
Just use herbs alongside to help buffer the side effects. And
absolutely. I hope I never have to ask you for questions about that, but I would never have chemo. It would never be something I'd be willing to do. So I lost my father to leukemia, and I saw the damage the chemo done to him, and I was like, no, I ain't even like that ain't option. So and most of the diseases are caused by inflammation, right?
Yeah,
with our system.
That's what's so wonderful about the plants, that they're mostly all anti-inflammatory.
I really need to get on this because obviously I'm getting older. I'm in my 50s now, and I've never been a party boy, so I've never kind of been out drinking and I've been drunk a couple of times, but a few times, but not very often. So I've never had kind of a party lifestyle. But I think now it's time where, hence one of the reasons why we got chatting and why we decided to do this show was not only because I want you to share you with my world, and because I think your information is desperately important. I think we need this information now more than ever. But also selfishly, I've got to look after my shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we all do. It's our responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah, really. And incredible that you can find, the most phenomenal nutritional plants that, like I said, you've got, the wet the beds out the garden because they spoil your lawn. We still do. But we discussed dandelions last week and how, phenomenal they are for health. Nettles today, we overlook so much stuff that is literally possibly grown on our doorstep that could just, if not cure, can aid to way better healthy lifestyle and longevity, which is probably what we all want, right?
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah. But also a healthy longevity.
Absolutely. Yeah. No one wants to live into 100 racked with pain and bloody diseases and, all this kind of stuff. But no, give me 102 years old and I'm still climbing mountains and still foraging for, because Natasha Lloyd told me what I can find. So I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You should work with her sometime. She's great. She's full of information. So any more info on nettles before we leave?
So much information on nettles. Honestly, we could do an hour on just nettle. We've scratched the surface. They've been used for a long time. They used to be one of the ingredients in haggis.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Still could be, of course. They also used to be seen as the poor man's food, and people would hide the fact they were taking nettle soup.
Really?
Yeah, they had a bit of a negative phase.
But
now they're in all the fancy restaurants.
No, we are so weird, this species of ours, aren't we?
But they honestly, when you do find them, make nettle soup.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be putting a shout out. Definitely, I'll put one out here, but I'm going to be putting one on Facebook as well to see if I can find them. I'd love to grow them again. Because in a minute, you and I, we're going to go and meet Jackie, who's out. I want to say it doesn't sound right said properly, so I want to say like Jonathan Ross, like she's our resident witch. Because if I say resident, it kind of weakens it for me. So she's our resident witch. So yeah, so we're going to meet her in a minute, and she's going to tell us some of the magical properties and spiritual sides of nettles. So it's just gone from one of the most hated plants for most school kids to something that I actually want to find and grow in my garden, really.
Yeah.
So, and offline, I'm going to ask you a question, just to go back on the dandelion thing, because I think we can pretty much cover other little bits during these shows as well. So you have this, it looks like a dandelion. The leaves are dandelion. The flower's like a small dandelion, but it's tall. Is that still dandelion?
Oh, that sounds like a hawk bit.
So it's quite tall. It's kind of like knee height tall.
Knee height. Maybe different here. We get hawk bits, which come after dandelions, that look very similar in leaf, but more succulent leaf. And they're, probably about knee height, actually, thinking about it.
I'll send you a picture when I get back out into the garden. Are they part of the dandelion family?
No.
No, they're completely different.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they look so similar, don't they?
They really do, yeah. Like I was thinking, oh, maybe they're related, like distant cousins, because it's pretty much the same flower, but just tinier. And the leaf is pretty much the same, but it's just longer. It's just taller.
Maybe we should do a bit of botany at some point.
We should.
Between those two.
You do realise you're probably stuck with me now for like, what we're going to be going through, you're probably about 4 or 5 years of this show. You do. I hope you sorted out all your Thursdays. Don't be planning no bloody dinners out and pub dates and stuff like that. You're stuck with me now, sister.
We're catching up on those 30 years of absence.
Absolutely. And what a best way than botany. Absolutely, mate. Wonderful. Well, Natasha, thank you so much for copious amounts of information with regard to nettles. Like I said, people, go and hunt Natasha down. All of her social media presences are mentioned on the title page to this episode and all the episodes. And you can also check out her book read on my book read show as well, which basically talks about her book, Foraged Condiments. Definitely a need for your bookshelf and your kitchen, especially after watching these shows, because a lot of the plants that we talk about are also featured in that book. So you need to be getting that book so you can go straight ahead. Now you can identify them. Now you can go and start cooking with them. That would be bloody wonderful. Natasha, thank you so much. I will see you next week for episode 3. Wonder what plant we're going to be discussing next.
Looking forward to it.
Can't wait. You take care, my darling. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was amazing. Who would have thought the nettle could be so important? And it's not over yet, because now we're going over to the Isle of Avalon. We're going over to sunny Glastonbury to meet witch, pagan chaplain, video host, lecturer, labyrinth practitioner. I mean, the woman's talents are endless. We are going over to meet our friend Jackie Thackway, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the spiritual and, dare I say, the magical side of the nettle.
Hi both. I'm going to talk to you now about the magical use of nettles. One of my favourites, actually. I really like using nettles any time of the year because they're quite powerful magic, or used in quite a lot of magic. It's important to understand that many different witches will use many different herbs for different things, but I think nettles go across lots of different cultures as well. So think about what a nettle does. If we brush against it, it stings us. It makes us jump away. So for me, nettles are used for protection. It teaches someone to keep out of your way, the sting. It's really good for healing. Again, in healing spells, it's to push away, to frighten off, to sting away illness or disease. And it's a great, what I call, warding herb. So to protect the house, to ward against negativity, to ward against evil spirits or anything that you don't want in the house that's otherworldly. If you hang nettles in the doorways or windows, that is a really old charm to keep off negative influences from the house. It's also what I call a threshold plant. So it's a plant that is a threshold between this world here and that world there, the other world, the world of spirit. It's really good to demark space and boundaries in magic. So I will often place nettles in my own tradition at the doorway of my magical circle when I'm working magically, just so that I have something there as a protection to my doorway into my circle, but also it gives me a sense of crossing from one world into the next. It's interesting because the Norse traditions, the Viking traditions, saw nettles as a protection against thunder, the god Thor, and even lightning. So during storms, to protect the house, they would throw nettles into the hearth fire. I use nettles in powders, banishing powders or protection powders. I will pick the nettles, particularly in the spring when they are full of nutrition, iron and all the good things that are in them, but also magical power. The sap is rising, it's filling the energy, the plant with energy. I will grind them down in a coffee grinder or a pestle and mortar. The coffee grinder is so much better, and maybe add other ingredients like garlic, asafoetida, for instance, and then I powder it all together, and I will use that as protection powders for people. It's the element of fire. In a lot of traditions, some other traditions will have different elements, but mine is the element of fire, and the element of fire is protective, but it's also transformative. It changes you, it allows change, it allows to burn away all the old so that you can bring in the new. And again, that means it's a boundary. The fire is a boundary. So nettles are associated with that. I think nettles are great. I recently used nettles in a mirror box where I wanted to add protection for a friend, but also to hold somebody in the box to make sure that they could see the harm they're causing other people. And nettles were part of that ingredient. Protective, but also that sting, that kind of quickness of, okay, I need to look at myself quite clearly. And again, the fire element with the nettles there as well, burning away dishonesty and negativity. So they're a really great plant. You've got to be really careful in picking them. And with all plants, I would always ask permission to pick, to make sure that the spirit of that plant is happy for you to pick those plants there, and only ever take what you need. And also be careful with nettles because they do sting. They are equally trying to protect themselves as we are using them for protective magic. So remember that and pick very, very carefully. So that's just a brief little something around the magical use of stinging nettles. Hope you both enjoyed.
What a wonderful show it was today. Thank you so much, Natasha and Jackie, for sharing your incredible knowledge on the nettle. I'm excited to be meeting with you again next week for plant number 3 on the next episode. Super excited, loving these shows, loving making them, and loving spending time with you kids. Thank you people at home for watching. Please make sure not only do you subscribe, like, comment and share this episode and to this channel, but please go and check out Jackie and Natasha on their social media presences as well. Don't forget, Jackie can answer all your questions magically and spiritually. Natasha has got a book called Forged Condiments already out. You can go and check that out on Amazon. She's got some great websites as well, and she'll be more than happy to answer your questions about the herbs that we are discussing, the plants that we're discussing on these shows. Get in touch with them, follow them, like them, love them, share them. What else can I say? Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week on episode 3. What plant? What do we have to share with you? See you later. Stay beautiful. Bye bye.